repetition. Good. Okay. Pattern, balance, repetition. What about and some other surface or some other maybe elements that aren't necessarily surface decoration?
Rhythm.
Yes. The rhythm goes over here. How about space? Space, volume or mass? You have definitely used, right? What's negative space?
Like when it indents into the pot. Takes something away.
Okay, you
Like this?
yes, and that's what you said too, right? Where it is empty. Empty space is negative space, and that's important. It's important with the whole concept of design. Not only because you want the inside of your pot empty, and what is that called as far as mass, or is it mass or volume?
Volume.
Yeah, it's volume because you may want to use it for a vase or drink out of. But it's important for your design on the outside. If your variable, when you start getting into more of shapes or handles, and you want to account for the relationship of the negative space, what is positive space then?
The actual piece.
Yes, and that could be positive. Positive space is part of mass. Negative space is part of volume, right? But they're also used outside of the inside. So let's see. I want to show you some negative. I'll show you for this. Okay, ceramic piece. So negative space, negative space. Okay, so the balance of this, if this handle started up here and curved way up and came down to the bottom, that would be a completely different use of negative space, wouldn't it? It would be a different sort of proportion, a very different balance. That's how you use negative space outside the vessel. Okay? Good. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is another part of surface decoration, which is, and about texture. I haven't seen much of this, but pressing into the pot or carving into it to make a design, we saw some of that when we talked about the principles of design. So that's another part of surface decoration, and it's not too late. If you choose to go back to your pinch pot, if you want to carve some design in it, if you choose to press in design with a tool, at what point would you do that in construction?
When the clay's wet.
Yes. And if you want to carve, the ideal time to carve and do sort of a relief texture or design, which students have done some amazing geometrical, some amazing Native American style designs, some photographic and just patterns carved in. And if you want to carve a design, the best time to do that is at leather hard. Leather hard stage of drawing. So what do you think that means? Can you press your finger into the pot, into the surface? That's too soft. Leather hard means it's like leather. So you can, this is what a really good test is. You can press your fingernail in, but you cannot dent it with your finger. Then you know it's leather hard. That's the best time to carve and minimize what potentially dangerous particles. If it's too dry and you're carving, what are you creating? That's toxic.
Platelets.
Clay dust, yep. So ideally, you want to carve at the leather hard stage. It's easiest, you get a good clean line, and it minimizes exposure to clay dust. So keep that in mind for carving a design. Okay, pressing in texture. Pressing in a design is in the wet clay. Okay, probably set up a little bit, but still wet. Okay, so when it is dry and ready to be fired, you have some choices about color. For color decoration. Okay, so in the greenware phase, you have the choice of using underglaze. Okay, and that's what you saw on those little samples. Roses painted on, or the little, I brought one in that had a columbine flower that I painted on. Underglaze is for a specific design or pattern. Think of it as paint. Okay, and we're going to go back and look at that and show you what's available. I have a lot of colors of underglaze. But underglaze is not for solid coverage. That is best done for, this is number 1. Number 2 is glaze. And what is glaze applied to? At what phase? After the bisque firing. So it's applied to bisque ware. Okay. Glaze. And we're going to go over the glazing process after our first bisque firing. So, but the glaze firing is for solid, the glaze is for solid coverage. It's a most efficient and the most uniform way to color a piece with solid color. And you get to choose more of the stoneware look.